All right, thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for your patience. We had a little glitch on technical issue from our guest, but that is being sorted out as we speak. So, as said earlier on, our discussion of today has to be on sustainable building designs, and we are going to bet on several housing designs that you, especially as a Nigerian in Nigeria, can utilize to have a cost-effective house to live in, to have efficient house, and also a functional house to live in without spending too much, and as well in managing your space effectively. So we'll be joined by our guest in any moment from now to discuss on this topic, to discuss on this wonderful, enlightening topic. Is a topic that is for everyone, you being a stakeholder in the real estate industry, be it you are a realtor, a surveyor, architect, valuer, real estate investor. As long as you have something doing in the real estate space, this is a topic that is, especially at this moment in time, you need to pay good attention into, because we have seen in recent times a lot of real estate development companies starting up a project, and unfortunately, while doing that project, they couldn't continue. In most cases, yes, you can put the blame on them, but some things are unforeseen, and you can't give what you don't have. That's just the simple truth. You can't give what you don't have. So most of these things happen because there are no, let me try, I can say a brand. I've tried all possible best, but Mr. Folonshaw, if you can hear me, it's still the same thing. I think you have to use the second account. It's still the same thing. This account is not bringing you in at all. So this is what we are to talk about today. And I really appreciate everyone who has joined us here, who really wish and wants to learn about what we are going to discuss today. I mean, it's a Monday morning here in Nigeria, and it's a busy day. It's a busy day for everyone, but you have taken out your time to join us here to learn. Finally, I finally we are able to bring our guest on. Thank you very much, everyone. So before our guest will speak, let me just quickly do a little introduction of who he is, so that we can know who is speaking with us. So our guest today is Mr. Folonshaw Temitope Joshua. He is a seasoned architect and a dynamic businesspreneur with over 8 years of diverse industry experience. Known for his innovative approach and strategic vision, Folonshaw has successfully managed and led multiple ventures across various sectors. His expertise spans across architectural design, project management, laundry business, and other development, thus enabling him to deliver exceptional results and drive growth. And this caused him to found Josema Consult Limited, which comprises various businesses. Following Shaw's entrepreneurial spirit fuels his passion for creating impactful spaces, which is part of what we are discussing today, and businesses that resonate with clients and different stakeholders, with a strong commitment to excellence and a proven track record of success in the following companies, and not limited to Strategy Associates, Kuye Consulting Architectural Firm, CIA Associates, and Nudel Construction Company, before starting his own business empire. Fọlọ́runṣọ́ Tèmítọ́pẹ́ Joshua continues to be a pioneer in new avenues in architecture and business. So with a sounding round of applause, we welcome architect Fọlọ́runṣọ́ Joshua to discuss on sustainable building designs. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. I hope I'm audible enough.
Yes, you are very, very audible.
Okay, thank you for your time, and sorry for the inconveniences that this time have caused. I think it's an unexpected stuffs. Try to avoid this even yesterday before now, but unfortunately, we are still experiencing this. So my apologies to everyone that joined us here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. So a very quick one, though our time has been spent, is fast spent, but nevertheless, we still do justice to the few things that we can do here. Okay. So when we are talking about sustainability in building, it's, it's a wide stuff, but we just have to pick one or two things that we want our people to know about, so that when they are building, or as a realtor, when they want to market a property, as an engineer, what you can advise your client or architect on. Sustainability is just in building, helps us to have a building from inception to when dies off. A building is more or less like a living thing, whether we believe it or not. Because when you are planning, I want to have a mall, I want to have a building, I want to have a property for residential. The moment you start that idea, you are trying to, it's like you have an idea that you're being pregnant. So from getting a land, building, consulting, to the moment that you have the building that you're standing, and for a while that the building will be in existence, the time that one or two members of the building will be falling in love, to renovation, to the building foundation will be weak, that it cannot stand again, that you demolish it. All these are put together for building sustainability. And how can we justify this? When you have a building that is not giving issues to the society, that is not causing nuisance to society, from the foundation to the other part of the building, yes, your building is sustainable to the environment. When your building is eco-friendly, not after 5 years you build it, the building will collapse. Not when you have your building in the environment, even looking at it from afar, you will feeling some people, there are some sick house syndrome that you see in a building that you cannot even enter, or when you enter you won't feel comfortable. Those buildings are not sustainable. When you see them, you will surely know them. One or two elements in that building is wrong. It might be due to the foundation. It might even be ordinary paint that is applying on the building. It might be the roof type. So all these, when you have them in right proportion, that is when we have a sustainable building in the society.
We are with you, sir.
Okay. So we have more to the building sustainability. One of the things that we need is effective usage, the effective usage of the building, the water in the environment, how it's being related to the environment. You know, some buildings, when we have them in the environment, whether you like it or not, they might be in waterlogged area as we have in Lagos. Even if they are still in waterlogged area, the way we build them and they still raise them up to the standard that you won't have any issue, any problem with water, and it won't affect your foundation. When you consider all these factors, then you have your building as a sustainable one.
All right. Thank you very much, Architect Joshua. The scope of this interview stroke presentation is to educate everyone in the real estate space about how sustainable building designs that you can utilize to have a house that can be said to be sustainable. When we say sustainable, that means that house can
Can stand for a long time.
yeah, it's durable. So we have a lot of people who will have questions to ask on this particular topic, but bringing it to our locality, I would just want you to help us understand from your own angle as an architect, what a layman who has acquired the landed property and wants to build a house, a sustainable house, what are the steps they need to take to ensure that the house they are building is sustainable coming to our locality?
Okay. Depending on the property you want to have on that particular piece of land, let me use a residential as an example because that's the least we can have in our society. So, assuming you have just a plot of land, let's start with that. Just a plot of land to build on, and is there any part of the world, or let's treat it down to Nigeria. Let's bring it down to Nigeria as a country. Let's use Lagos State as a case study. If you are to build on one plot of land, government will tell you to leave a setback of 6 meters. It is just for your own good. When you leave that 6 meters in front of your building, then the two other sides, you have to leave 3 meters. That is the standard, even though in quotes, we might not obey it in some time because of the piece of land, just because it's not big enough. But the standard needs to be followed, which is 6 meters in the front, then we leave the 3 meter sideways. And when we obey this, is just one of the reasons for our building to be sustainable. Because when we have a shoky buildings on a row, it's not good. There is no free flow of air. And the occupants of that building, they won't feel comfortable. Even the building itself cannot generate air for itself. That means when in some buildings, when you enter, you just see the wall. It's just coming out. The wall is, it looks bulky. When the paint cannot stand on it. These are the effects of buildings that are not sustainable. So when you build on a piece of land, just a plot, and you leave all those setbacks, is to avoid hazard, hazards that are not, that can bring your building down. Those 6 meters, that 6 meter for a plot now, when you leave it, in terms of accident or any other thing, for it to get to the main part of the building, it will take a while. Let's look for on highway. We know how many meters we need to leave on on a street, normal street. We leave a particular meter, which is that 6 meter that I mentioned. That is that is when it's very okay that we obey those laws so that we can sustainable building. And by the time we design on in our as a layman, they believe that okay, you just have an entry, you have windows. When you are designing, when you consult your architect, you consult your engineer, there is orientation for a particular land. On a particular land, even when you have your survey, yes, your north arrow is showing that, oh, this land, this is the north, this is the south, this is, all these things. When you are designing on that particular land, they have their key roles that they play. For instance, we all know that the sun will rise from the east and set at the west. It has its own particular effect on our building.
Hmm.
Our north and north trade winds, our south trade winds that we make use of, they have their own effect also on our buildings. So when we
Hmm.
consider all this, you just see that in the house, you are talking about cross ventilation. Some houses you just see just one window, and when you are inside during the day in the afternoon, yes, there might be inflow of air, but the air will not flow out. The place will be so hot that you won't feel comfortable. So when we avoid all this, that is when we have a sustainable building. So all these factors, when we put them together, by avoiding them, that is when our building is being sustained. When we observe those considerations, we leave the standard setback because they have their work to do. We observe the trade wind, our sun direction, they have their own part on our buildings. All this will help our building to last longer and their effect on our building.
Hmm. All right, thank you very much, architect. I'm already learning a lot, even for the just few minutes you have spoken now. I've really learned something that I never thought of. You mentioned that even on the survey plan, from the survey plan of the land, you can pick out information on where the house should face, the building should be facing,
Yes.
the north arrow, because as a realtor, I used to see those informations on the survey, but that's why everybody has a role to play here. If not because you interpreted it now, I never knew the importance of that north arrow, which we always see on the survey plan. So thank you very much. You also mentioned about setbacks. Yes, we always hear setbacks, 6333, formula. But someone has a question on that. Why in the comment section, the person said, when you said sideways, what if there are buildings by the sides? The person said that when you say sideways in terms of the setbacks,
Okay.
and the person is saying that what of if there are buildings by the sides? That's the question in the comment section.
Well, if I can interpret it, I might not get the question very well, but if I can interpret it the way I understand it, probably a property is beside your property and they built very close to your property. That's what the person means. And in that case, that means the person has not followed the law. And
Mm.
in years to come, definitely the law will catch up with the person. You just obey your home. Leave that space that you have left in between your building and that person's building. That is where the airflow to your own building and to person's building. We that's the direction. That's where the air will flow through. And if two of you build very close to each other, you won't have enough air into the building, and it is not good for building
Mm.
sustainability.
Okay. All right. The person said you said leave 3 meters sideways.
Sideways.
So I think the
Okay.
question the person is asking, you have already answered it. As long as let me try to rephrase it now. The architect says that when you have a plot of land and you want to build, it's normal standard for you to have 6 meters in front. By the side, I mean the right side, the back, and the left side, you should leave 3 meters. So irrespective of maybe someone has built beside you, your own responsibility is to respect that standard on your own plot.
Yes.
For the person who asks this question, it's for you to respect, because your land is your land. So you have to respect that standard in your land. You are not affected by whatever the person has done on his or her own land. The law will still catch up with the person. If the person likes, he should build this fence and put rooms there. That's for the person. In my own understanding, and I think this is what
Yeah,
the
correct.
architect also said. So you are not affected by if there's house beside you, as long as it's a land and you want to build, just respect the standards. That's what the architect has just pointed out. Hope that has answered that question. We still take more questions. We still take more, because I'm very sure my architect is ready to expand our thinking on how we can save costs when building houses, how we can build efficient housing. And in fact, he has mentioned like three things we want in a house. We want good ventilation, because as a realtor, I've experienced a lot of things. We go to inspect some houses, and you find out that, in fact, they put the window, I don't know the dimensions, the right dimensions of the windows, but you just know from your experience that this is not right. This window is smaller than the ones you have been seeing, and in some places you just need only one window in a room. There's no cross ventilation, which it doesn't make that house efficient, as you have said. But also, in some instances, we look at it that not all rooms can have two windows. Or is it a standard that all rooms must have two windows? Because most of the designs we always see here, we always find out that it's always the master's bedroom or the madam's bedroom that always have two windows or even more. But there are other rooms that we only have a single window. Is it a design error, or is it a necessity? I'm just, because that's what I have always been experiencing when we go out to inspect those houses. Now, you also mentioned, that's just it's a one question. You also mentioned sun direction. Well, I'm just getting to know about this today, and I'm going to definitely put it into consideration when we go out to inspect houses for our clients who wants to buy a house, or who wants to even buy off land or already built houses. So you talk about sun direction, or I would want you to expatiate more on that sun direction for us to know where should a house face, or where should a house not face in terms of sun direction, and how does the sun direction also affect an efficient house, especially during this period that we are always talking about solar energy, green environment. How will sun affect? So I would want you to help us address those two questions before we move on, sir.
Okay, if I get the very first question right, the sun. Okay, let me start with the sun direction,
The
right?
windows. Yeah, okay.
Okay, okay. So if you are talking about the ventilation in a space, yes,
Mm.
the standard is to have either two or more. But in some cases, in rare occasions, we can have it as one. But that one, there's a proportion for it. If
Mm.
we can really learn in this more or less like a class, or if I can say a seminar, there's a proportion for it. If you have a space of a 3 meter, there's a standard for the window size. So if it's not enough, the air inflow cannot go in and go out with just that small space that we are giving to that bedroom. So that's one of the reasons why as a developer we truly want to make gain, but what about the comfortability of the people that want to occupy that space? Yes, we can still make money. If eventually we cannot have two windows in a particular space, we can divide it. It can be smaller, but let it be two. I don't know if you get what I'm
Mm.
saying. If we get it,
Mm.
you know, if on a norm supposed to have 1.2, that is 1,200 millimeter window in a
Mm.
space, and you
Mm.
think you don't want to have it as one. You can divide it as either 600,
600.
750, but you let it be a long window. We know how we build our modern houses here in Nigeria now. It will be very long that even if you are standing outside, you can be seen inside the building. It's going to be long on the face. It's going to be a tall, so we can have two of it in a room. So this will help us to still have much airflow in the building. I believe that can answer that. So instead of having one just big one, we can split it. So when this one, where air comes in through one, then can use the other one to go out. As small as it might be, but the two is required. But in any case that we can't have more than one, then the room will suffer it.
Wow, wow. Okay, thank you very much. I'm trying to, because I'm just saying this for the benefit of those that will be watching this video later on, and also those that are here right now. What you mean is that if a room by design can't have more than a window in terms of size, they can partition the window into two so that airflow can
Okay.
be in and out.
Okay. If a particular length, let me use a length now, a length of a window, a length of a room, are we together now? A
Yeah.
length of a room,
Hmm.
if it ought to be around 3 meters, because that is the least of the standard
Hmm.
of a room, not in all these houses that we see around that we are having 2.4, 2.7, that we can only
Hmm.
put bed. Those
Hmm.
ones are not standards. When we are talking about
Hmm.
standard that involves engineering, that involves architecture, the least you can have is 3 meters in a room. That is the least. So
Hmm.
in a room of 3 meters, even if you want to have two windows as 900, it's possible. 900 times 2, that is 1.8. That is 1.8 millimeter. So when we subtract 1.8 from 3 meter, you still have extra of 1.2.
Maybe 1.2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that 1.2 is enough to be a space in between the two windows. I believe you get what I'm explaining now.
Yeah.
So when air comes in through the first 900, then it can go out through the second one, which is still preferred, which is still okay. When we cannot have a cross ventilated air in a space. When we are talking about cross ventilated, it has to come in through one direction and pass through another direction. And by so doing, air will easily flow through the space.
Hmm. That is well noted. I believe those on the call are learning right now. So you also mentioned about the sun direction.
Yes, yes. The sun direction is also a good factor for a building sustainability. When we talk about sun direction, one of the studies shows that very early in the morning is good to have that direction very close to the bed, very close to the bed. And the short side of any building should be along the path of the sun ray,
Hmm.
the short part. So when sun is moving in its own way, let it move from east to west. But this, like, as we are, let me use our phone as an example. We have
Hmm.
our phone as rectangle, as we are holding it, or the way we have it. Let the shortest path be through it. I don't know what I can use as an example. I don't know. But okay, our land is rectangle. That is
Yeah.
average.
This
Yes.
is the phone here.
Okay.
So
Okay,
this
let's
short
turn it.
part.
Let's turn it. Let's turn it other way around. Let's turn it. Yes. This is just like our land now.
Okay.
Down here is where you have the road, the access road. Yes.
Okay.
The upper part is the north arrow on any
Okay.
circumstance, depending on how the land is being oriented. In the major way, we have it at the upper part. So when you have it, the shortest span of your building should be between the west and the east, because that is the direction of the sun.
Hmm.
Yes,
Hmm.
the shortest
Hmm.
side of the building, so that there will be much heat in the building. When you have
Oh.
much heat in the building, not good. When you are inside the building during the day, you feel uncomfortable, you will feel much heat. You know, if there is no mechanical means to cool
Mm.
uh,
Eat.
that environment, the person will
Mm.
not feel comfortable. Yeah.
Mm.
So the major side is for the building, for the shortest part of the building to be along that path.
Wow. 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 This is so expository. This is so expository. Okay. All right. So we already talked about the setbacks. We talked about the sun direction. You also mentioned something when you were doing your introduction. You said something that I've not heard before. You said sick house syndrome. So when I heard that, I was like, so houses too do get sick like human beings. But you know,
Yes.
when we get sick as human beings, we use drug now. You get Panadol, paracetamol, and you get some malaria drugs. So how you said there are symptoms to know sick houses, but how do you treat sick houses? And I want you to add that along this thought of my thought of line of thought. We have some houses that are maybe they built those houses in the 1980s, 1970s. Most of those houses are always very big. I mean, the rooms are always very, very big. The living room will even be times two, maybe because of the land availability at that time. But moving forward to when the owners of these houses become aged, most of their children are not living in those houses again. And you now find out that such a big house is only remaining the father and the mother. And they can only use maybe just one or two out of those rooms. Even those rooms are even big for their usability. Then, talking about this topic of sick houses, I want you to move it into this one. How, because I have an experience, the last time I visited Ibadan, one of my clients told me that they are only the one living in this house now. The house is very big, and they are not, you are not thinking of remodeling the house into short rooms so that they can even let it out because they need people to be around them. They are already old. They need people around them. They need to also put it for business as well. So when I'm talking about house being sustainable, is being house being big or small, or characterize it into being sustainable? I mean, so can we say that a house that is big in terms of rooms or the size, can we say that it's sustainable? Or the ones that are smaller in size, can we also say that those ones are sustainable? Or is there a way for us to classify these two based on usability?
Okay, thank you very much. Let me analyze it, and I believe by the time I analyze it, we will get justice to everything. Though everything they are being interwoven, but by the time we pick it one after the other, then we will get it. Let me start with a building can be big, might not be sustainable.
Hmm.
A building can be small, can be sustainable, depending. One of the things that characterize sustainability in building is when the usage met the building purpose.
Hmm.
When there is no issue in living in that house. You know, some houses, people are still living there, but you see that the roof
Hmm.
is falling. But just because
Hmm.
they don't have anywhere to go, they are still living in the house.
Hmm.
Instead of them to probably leave the house, renovate it, do the necessary things. Some buildings in Ibadan, let's use that example. The houses in Ibadan might not even have any issue. Just because, in the olden days, we like our spaces to be big, not in Lagos now that we just manage our spaces. Yes, a building can be big and still be okay. The sitting room in Lagos now, the average house you can see maybe like 4.5. That's the highest sitting room. When you want to see a very standardized one, will be 6 meters. Yes, when you have them like that, they are okay. You are in it. You don't have issue with the paint. You don't have issue with the ceiling. You don't have issue with your tiles. Not that okay, probably they've used terrazzo before, and in the process of changing it, you want to damage the slab. Those ones are not, those building cannot sustain, they cannot last for a while. But when you are doing your thorough maintenance on building and you don't even have any issue, the slab is okay, your wall is okay, your roof is okay, you don't have any issue with it, yes, you are good to go. Then concerning the house in Ibadan, let them check first if the foundation doesn't have any issue. If there's no major big crack on the building, yes, they can do little renovation by little partitioning. You know, all those spaces that are big, they just need either engineer or architect. Let them do a new drawing. By the time they do the existing drawing for that space. So while looking at it, they know those spaces that are very big, they can partition those spaces into a new, what is sellable in that area. You know, maybe that area is student environment. They don't need big houses. Let them just do mini room for them that we have their toilet and their kitchen. Let them manage it. If it is not student environment, okay, is this an industrial area or do we just need people to live comfortable in this area? They can make it a mini flat. By the time they make it a mini flat, let them have their toilet, everything just be okay. And by the time they finish, they add good paint to it, it will become a new building. And they won't have it will still last another 15, 20 years if it is well done during the process. So those are the major things that make our building to be sustainable is when we don't have issue with it. Your foundation first. Don't compromise on your foundation. When when you see some buildings in some area, when you go through it, you see the paint that this building, one of the sick house syndrome that I mentioned the earlier time. When you go through a building and you see the paint peeling from the wall, that means they should consider something is wrong. If it is ground floor, something is wrong with the foundation, with the wall. As in the paint is coming out, you can see, there's a difference between paint to be peeling from the wall than even the wall. You see that it's very wet and the paint is not even, it cannot stay on it. So that means the foundation is having issue. Probably when they are doing it, it was not well managed. It was not well carried out. It might be the height of that foundation in that place that probably is not enough. The water table of that place is just the same thing with the height of your foundation, and it ought to be higher. So those are the things that will make our building not to be sustainable.
Okay, thank you very much, architect. I believe more people are joining us, and I would really want you to not be selfish with this information, because these are information that you would not see on Google. I always tell people, there are some informations that are Googleable, and there are some information that are not Googleable. This is a not Googleable information because you are getting practical of the theory you read on Google. The person we are talking to is a seasoned architect. He has done a lot of both residential, commercial, industrial projects, and is dishing it out to us selflessly. He's not hiding any information. So I would want you to also invite other people. Just click on the arrow button, that arrow button, and share it with your network. Let them also learn from this. You have seen some of the mistakes people make, and you as a realtor who wants to sell a property, you have to be informed so that you will not sell what your client will buy from you and start costing you. You as a real estate investor, you also need to be aware and have this kind of information so that you can make best decisions when you want to buy that your property or you want to build your house. Like now, you have heard about setbacks, you have learned about sun direction, you have learned about ventilation, we just talked about foundation. These are some of the things that you have to be aware so that when they are even about to build or they are building for you, you can say something, you can have idea of what you want them to do for you so that your house can be sustainable. So while you are doing that, I also like to indulge our guest today to, you mentioned sick house syndrome. You just mentioned something about foundation. Yes, we have some houses that they are built wrongly based on foundation. And even the Bible says the foundation is weak, what will the righteous do? So the foundation is something that is very, very important, especially when it comes to building. But we find out that even some houses, after they have done the foundation, um, be it like, let me put it in perspective so that we can understand. I know a particular area in Lagos. They call that area Chevy View.
Chevy
They
view, okay.
Yeah, Chevy View Estate. I know that most of the houses they built there, they did good foundation in most of the houses. But till today, when you are talking about flooding, those areas still experience flooding. And based on our analysis, when we did it, I was told that most of the buildings inside that estate have been built before the Lekki Epe Express Road was increased in height. And that is what always overflows back to the estate, which causes flooding. So I want to now ask, because we talked about foundation now, that the foundation, they have done their foundation. Um, can we say that they didn't have foresight of what is going to happen in the future, or what was going on in their mind when they did when they built the house? Because most of the houses have been built before those flood issues start coming around. I don't know what, maybe you understand what I'm saying. Now they have done the right
Okay.
foundation.
If
So what
if I
can be the
have the
cause?
idea, yes,
Mm,
I have idea of what you said,
mm,
but let me analyze it the way I perceive that question. Nevertheless, if we don't have issue with our foundation, that vividly we have checked that there is no error in the foundation, it's not because of the foundation that we are having issue, then they should check the drainage. The drainage system of that environment is also important. It's still part of sustainability we are talking about. Water is
mm,
part of it. Too much of water can cause so many things in the environment. If the probably let's check the drainage, they should carry out a good drainage system. If they don't have issues with their foundation, the foundation is okay. The channeling of the water from each building to just not to the streets. It has to be properly managed to the river. If our water
mm,
is not channeled to the river, even let's have a dry land from here, from let's use VI as an example, and there's
mm,
no river around VI. We just have a
mm,
dry land from VI to Aja. That
mm,
water, if it is not drained, let's assume that we have the next stream or the next river or the next available water body around Aja, they have to take it down there. Because if
mm,
they follow it around VI, they don't follow it around which other like Lekki phase 2, they don't follow it around Chevron. Those
mm,
people around Chevron will have issue. Those
mm,
people around, so it's a general problem in our society,
mm,
but you just have to safeguard your own environment.
mm,
It's a general problem.
mm,
So if you are having
mm,
an estate, let me use an estate as an example now. Let me use, I believe when I mention name, you will understand, or if I didn't mention name, you will understand based on the project we've worked on together with. Let's use one of the estates along Abramade Sonya that you know very well as an example. If the water in that particular estate is not drained, I'm referring to the major one that we both worked. If they didn't drain their water, as big as that estate is, if they didn't drain it properly, it will affect them. If they
mm,
drain it properly and they didn't channel it to the nearest river, it will affect the neighborhood.
mm, mm.
Are we getting it? It will affect the
Yes.
neighborhood. So if you have a good foundation, because the foundation we did in that estate was around 900 just for a story building. I believe you could recall. For the
Yes.
ones that are two-story building, we had like 1.2. Yes, it's fantastic. You won't have any issue, but they must have a good drainage system so that the
Mm,
water in that environment will go into the drainage, and from there they find their way to the riverboard, to the water, or whatever you want to call it. So
So
it's very important that we have a good drainage system. It's very, very important.
wow, wow. So as a realtor or as a property investor, this is
Yes, it's
this is
part of
a
you need to consider too.
priceless information that you need to look at. It's not just about I want to buy a fine house in a beautiful estate. You have to check the drainage. Is there a way they are trying to send out water from their estate into the nearest canal? And even if they have a way to do that, is the canal in that environment uh, having good water flow so that you will not have to swim before you even get to your estate? So these are some of the things that we have to look at. This is a priceless information, and thank you very much for bringing that up, because I always wonder that they have good houses in this estate, but especially in a place called Agungi, they have good houses in that, but for you to move from the main road, the Lekki Ekpe Express Road, down to Agungi during rainy season is another story entirely. So, but I now understand perfectly why, because most of their drainage are blocked and
Mm-hmm.
they are also very
Are very
narrow.
small. Some
Yeah,
are very
very
small. Yes,
small.
very narrow.
Yes, so that is why. So, as a realtor, I think this is a priceless information that you are having, so that when you want to market any property, you need to look into this. And if you are an investor, a property investor watching this video, these are some of the things that you need to put into consideration. We already mentioned foundation. In fact, foundation has a lot of information that it can expose to you based on the um, sustainability value of the house, the strength of the house, and what you need to you can experience after buying that house. We also talked about drainage. I really want to let us discuss more on this sick house syndrome. This sick house syndrome is a new thing I'm hearing today, and I want to, if you permit me, to exploit you. In fact, to talk more about the the syndromes experienced in sick houses. We are still going to talk about sustainable building design. You are going to give us ideas of designs that can be sustainable, and you can also put us through the material you have with you in terms of explanation and presentation. But before we do that, we have a question here. The person says that what is the best quantity of height one can use as both a waterlogged and dry area? So the question is that what is the best quantity of height one can use as both a waterlogged and dry area? I think the question simply means that height of foundation you should use in a waterlogged and dry area.
Okay. Let me paraphrase it, because you can only get it right as an architect or as an engineer. Permit me to use that word, because a foundation, they have their average standard, and apart from average standard, when you get to a particular land, even just a story building, you might use 1.2
Hmm.
as a foundation after filling. It's possible. You can use 900. You might not use the common, it's not possible. You could use the common 600. So depending one on the location, that is one. Even in our question, I think she mentioned two. So she said waterlogged area, dry area. Definitely you have it different.
Hmm.
The first one is your engineer. The best person to give you the best height for that is your engineer. That is the truth. But nevertheless, when you go into a house that you cannot have like 2 or 3 steps from the main road, from the third road, you have to consider that there's a problem.
Hmm.
This is just after this. Even if I didn't give you any other technical idea, just take it like that. If from the tar road you cannot step into your house 1, 2, 3 steps, you are just having one step, or you are having, some people will just open the floor from the compound. You just open your compound, the compound and your building, they are having the same floor level. You know that if there's any issue, from the main road to the compound, it will definitely enter your building.
Hmm.
Are we together now? So
Yes.
so you might not be there when they are building that house. So that's why you, as a realtor or as the occupant, might not be able to decide the height. You might not really, because they will have filled it, everything will have been compacted, and But after that, from your compound to the floor in your sitting room or your ante room or the first space you'll be stepping in your building, if you cannot count, even if you can't count two, let me reduce it to two. That you just have maybe one. It's not preferable. It's not the best. If you are having two, you are a bit safe. If you can have three, yes, it's good. If you can have
Hmm.
three, it's good. So for that three, by the time you have three together, you have like 450 or thereabouts. So
Hmm.
with that, if there is going to be waterlogged in that area, if that area is going to be waterlogged for your own house to have such, it will go a very long way. It will go a very,
Hmm.
very long way.
Thank you
It will
very
go a
much for
very
that. Thank you very much for that answer. And I would also want to just, in my own layman experience, when we are talking about foundation, we have different types of foundation based on waterlogged, dry land. We have the strip foundation, raft foundation, pie foundation as well. So I think those two are very, very important in terms of the type of foundation you have to do for a house. Because I know that it's in waterlogged areas that most people do raft and pie. But in dry lands, you just need to do only the strip foundation. So I think these are some of the informations you, as a realtor or as a property investor, needs to also know and ask. You can easily ask what type of foundation was done in this project. So from the foundation, you can as well know that, okay, this house is a sustainable one or not. So thank you very much, architect. If you have any other question, please, for our guest, if you have question for our guest, kindly drop it. Or if you also would like to come live, you can send a request button so that we can also bring you on. Please, can you hear me? I think it's frozen. Can you hear me? Please, if you can hear me, just type in the comment section that you can hear me. Oh, I think we lost our guest right there. But I believe it has been a wonderful session so far. I personally have learned a lot. I don't know about you, but I personally have learned a lot in terms of building sustainable houses. Um, I don't know. Can you hear me, please? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, someone just responded yes. I think we lost our guest there. I'm very sure he will come back. I'm very sure he will come back very soon. So thank you very much, everybody who has joined this call. I'm very sure you have learned something and you have added to your wealth of knowledge, be it as an investor, a realtor, or a surveyor. So thank you once again for joining. And let me try to know why our guest is I think network threw him out. But if you have any question, I think maybe you should just drop it now, or you can request to join so that we can definitely respond to the question when he's back. So thank you everyone. Oh, Honorable Sheriff, thanks for joining. Thank you so much. I know it's a very busy day, but thanks for joining us to learn um, from this webinar. Okay, so thank you, everyone. I think we should call it off. This will be actually be the round one of this topic. We still have a lot to go. We just discussed about sick house syndromes. In fact, this is going to be a long stretch of topic I'm going to be discussing about, because we have a lot of houses, and I have to tell you, most of the houses are sick. But if you don't have access to this kind of information, how are you going to know that this house you want to rent? Because we have to also talk about rentals. When you want to rent a house, you have to look at the strength of the house, the health, how healthy the house is. So you have to know this. You want to buy a house, you want to invest, you want to even go into JV. You want to go into JV, you want to put your money into an investment. These are things that you need to know. So it's very important for us to try as much as possible. You can even see as little as painting, and that's going to actually bring you to the to invite a painter, because even the paint you use for your house, it affects the sustainability of the house. It affects the efficiency and functionality of the house. It's even because it affects the mood. Even the colors you use to paint your house affect it. Location, we already know that from outside that the houses that are in waterlogged area and those that are in dry areas definitely are going to have differences. Differences in terms of how strong the house will be and the cost effectiveness of the construction, because the house that you are building in a waterlogged area definitely will request more money to build than those that are in dry areas. We also talked about the setbacks, which I know is a popular discussion when it comes to houses. Knowing the standard setbacks for your houses, the sun direction when you want to build your house, where the house should face. We already learned that the shorter part of your survey of your land size should be between the west and east. We also talked about the trade wind, how winds flow in and out of your house, because all these things all affect. We also talked about water, the drainage system, and so much more. So I believe we have learned, and it's been a worthy time spent in this webinar. Definitely, we are going to have a repeat of this topic, and we are going to make it more robust and more participatory. It may not be on Instagram Live. It may be on another platform, but you will get access to that information if you have registered for this webinar. We have your details. We are going to give you a follow-up on the next time we are going to have a repeat of this class or any further webinar that has to do with real estate investment, real estate construction, real estate development, and anything that surrounds it, including real estate sales. So thank you so much for joining. It's been a wonderful time. It's been an awesome day learning from our guests and as well from our participants. I can see a question here. I have a client who wants to know the highest size of a building he can build on a 200 square meter. Unfortunately, the architect is not here right now, but you can send the question down to me and I would provide an answer to that from him to you. I have a client who wants to know the highest size of a building he can build on a 200 square meter land. Though I have an idea of this, but I want a professional in that aspect to answer that question, because height of building has to do with location. Is it close to an airport? Is it close to a military base? All those these are some of the things you need to know to arrive at a height you can build. And you know, there are also standards of each state. There's what you call Lagos State Building Control Agency, LASCA. They are in charge of this. There are things, but your architect will be in the best position to advise you, because there might be plus or minus when in that regards. So All right. So someone also asked, please, I would like to know which category the foundation they call Jama floor for in. Thank you. Oh, I would have really appreciate. Okay, our guest is back here. Let me try to invite him. Okay, it's not here yet. Okay, I've accepted. Good. So I've accepted he will be in the best position to answer these questions. Okay. Um, oh,
Sorry for the breaking transmission.
in fact, it's okay. We can understand the situation. So thank you for joining us back. There are some questions that have been dropped here when you left. So let me just quickly read through those questions before we call it a day. Um, but before I do that, I would want to everyone that is on this call, I would want you to follow our guest on his Instagram page. I will also drop his phone number. Should you have any question you want to ask him in regards architecture, or you want to build a sustainable house that you can be proud that I built this house, and you can beat your chest that this house will be there in the next 50, 100 years to come. You want someone who is versatile, who is experienced, who is a professional to handle your building project. He is the one. I've been working with him over 4 years, and it has been an amazing experience. All the clients that he has worked with will always give over 5 star review. He's a very diligent person, so I'm assured that you will not regret working with him. So while he's answering the questions I'm about to read out, I would want us to go follow him on his Instagram page, and I will also drop his phone number so you can pick it at the comment section. So the questions are, someone said, I have a client who wants to know the highest size of building he can build on a 200 square meter land. I have a client who wants to know the highest size of building he can build on the 200 square meter land. That's the first question. Would you like to take that, or I should read the second question, sir?
Okay, maybe I should let me take it one after the other so
All
that
right,
we
sir.
can
All right,
really
sir.
get it well. Well, if you have to put it in a layman's words, that 200 square meters will be in between half plot of land. It's not of a plot. That's like half plot of land. And so if we are to now rationalize, it should be within a residential area because that cannot be an industrial area, that cannot be a commercial land unless they just want to convert it. Because in that area now, we are talking about 9 meter or less than 9 meter for the width. And the major thing you can have in that is residential. So that's rule number one for you to know what you can do there. Then for the height, for residential, it also depends on that particular area. Some estates, when you are going more than 2, 3 floors, is not acceptable, even though government doesn't have what's it called concerning residential. As far as you meet all the requirements, they cannot stop you if you have the financial capacity to build 10 floors. It's possible, but do you have for somebody that don't have money to, and someone that buys that wants to buy
200
half
square.
plot of land, you see the one that is going to like 10 floors. So in that regard, you might not even have issues when you are still going 3 floors, 4 floors. There is no issue depending on the capacity and the area you want to build on. Those are the criteria that you can use to do that. One, what is the financial capacity? Somebody that bought half plot of land, can it be up to 4 floors? Can it be up to 5 floors? So if that is like a benchmark for that person, If you have the money, government will not stop you. And in that environment, do they allow you to go more than 4 or 5 floors? So those are the things you need to consider. But if the person can be specific, that this so area, okay, then they can look into it. Is there any setback for government on that particular area? Yes, because if it is within a particular area, you can't build that area now, like train station, like airport, all those things, they have their own criteria. You can't just build anyhow in that area because of the movement of the other district. So those are the things I believe the person should consider. So it's not, if you have the money, you can go to any length you want, but you have to consider other factors if it will be accepted in that area. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I believe that question has been robustly answered. Madam Dorcas Braid. Actually, I also tried my possible best to answer that question, and I was actually in line, but the architect has given us a robust answer to that. So the second question is by Shams Reality. The question is, I'm trying to get the question, please. Shams Reality asked the question. I can't find the question again. No. I'm coming, please. Let me just try to check. Shams Reality, maybe you can just drop the question. I can't get the question. The network is bad from my internet provider. The question has disappeared. Please kindly. Okay, I've seen it. Please, I would like to know which category the foundation they call German floor fall in. Which category is the foundation they call German floor fall in? We always say German floor, German floor. So he wants to know which category the German floor falls into. Is it
Okay.
British floor or Ghanaian floor?
Uh,
Or why German floor?
okay. Okay. There is nothing like that. It's just a term. It's a
Hmm.
term used in your foundation. You can have German floor in any of the foundation that you have mentioned earlier, be it pipe foundation, be it straight foundation, in any other foundation. You can have that. The moment you cover your main foundation with the ground floor slab, what we call ground floor slab, that after you might have reached, whether you are using pile, whether you are using strip, whether you are using
Raft.
uh, rafts, the moment you raise the major part from the floor, you have compacted it. That slab on it, that is what we refer to as German floor. But before you have it, there are some things you have to put into consideration. Some people will just cast. Some people will not use membrane. When you don't use membrane in future, it will lead back to that building syndrome that I mentioned
Hmm.
because of water seepage. But the moment you have that slab done very well, you have it being reinforced, you have your membrane on it, then combination of it is what they refer to as German floor. Because in some, not in Lagos,
Hmm.
because you have that in Lagos, you have yourself to blame. Let's look at, for instance, let me use Akure, let me use Ekiti, let me use Ibadan as an example. Some people will raise their block from the floor and they build on it directly.
Hmm.
If I'm right,
Yes.
I don't know if you get what
Yeah,
I'm saying. Some
I've
people
seen
will
it.
do the
Yeah.
very like, yeah, those ones they don't have those in that manner, they don't have German floor. So it's not German floor is not like a type of foundation. In any foundation that you make use of is a part that have to be observed in any of those ones. So it's not like it's a type in quotes. It's not a type. It's part of the
Mhm.
process to have a foundation in any form that you are using for that particular project.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. I believe you've gotten answer to that question, Shams Realty. All right. So there's another question here. She says, my main question is, can it take up to average standard three-bedroom flat? Okay, you're not talking about the size, not height. So the question that was initially asked about 200 square meter. So this person is asking that, can it take up to average standard three-bedroom flat? Can they build three-bedroom flat on it? That's what the question is.
Yes, according to our own standard, yeah, it's possible you can have it. You have it. You just have to, don't let me say it to the air, but I don't have choice, and you still have to compromise the standard a bit. So it's possible you can have
Well,
because the
thank you very much. I don't want you to compromise anything, sir. So the person should just collect collect the architect's number, reach out to him, let us work together. He's in the best position to help you. Seriously, he's in the best. I've worked with him. I know what I'm saying. Work with our architect. Folorunsho is in best position to help you get what you need. That if it is 3 bedroom flat, there are ways that they can always help you in the legal way, and you will still achieve your standard that you want. So thank you very much, architect Folorunsho. I don't know if you have any other question. If you have any question, you can still signify. This is a free webinar. You have all the chances to ask your questions today, and I'm very sure it will be answered. I'm very sure most of us in this place have learned. I've learned a lot. I talking to you today, I've learned seriously. So if you have any question, you can drop it so that it will be attended to right away. Thank you very much, sir, for the explanation. They are thanking you, sir. They said thank you so much for the explanation. That's why we are here, so that we can
thank you.
all get it right.
Pleasure.
There's a lot of wrongs ongoing in real estate industry, and for people like us that have integrity, that we are not only thinking about the uh, prosperity, but the posterity of the business, we have to get a lot of things right, and we have to do a lot of things right. And that's why I am championing this course to educate as much as I can, to educate people to know the right things they need to do when it comes to, be it building, selling, buying, developing real estate projects, or buying real estate services in general. So thank you so much once again, architect. It's been a wonderful time. A lot of people are already saying thank you very much, thank you very much. You are welcome, you are welcome. Thank you so much as well. So before we end this lab, because I know everybody is busy, it's always already getting to a busy time for most of us. In conclusion, I would want our architects to help us highlight, going forward, what we need to look at as a layman in the business, or as an investor. What are the things you need to look out for if you want to build a house, having purchased a land? If you want to build a house, because I have a lot of experiences. People have bought land, and they will now be asking, they don't even know what they want to build on this land. They don't even have idea of what they should build on the land. And as an architect, I believe you have such experiences as well. I know people build house based on their usage. You have also already mentioned it, and it has to also match the building purpose. So someone who is at age 60 and wants to build a house, definitely the kind of house that person will build at age 60 will be different from someone who is at the age of 35 or 40. Someone who probably has a large family but has limited land, let me put it that way. Maybe he has 350 square meter and he's a family of 5, compared to someone who is just a family of 2 and they have like 600 square meter to play around with. You know, so the needs are different from each other. So I just want you to help us brush along that side. How can I know from onset that, okay, oh, this is the idea? Because I know we have the ideation stage of everything we want to do, but right from onset, like the person that is asking for 200 square meter, those are some of the questions we face. Okay, I have 200 square meter. Can I build 3 bedroom flat? Can I build 4 bedroom flats? Someone who even have 1,000 square meter will be asking you, can I build 7 bedroom mansion? What can I build? Can I have swimming pool? Can I have gym? Can I have Olympic stadium in my, you know? So a lot of questions surround this. So I just want you to help us brush through it. How can we effectively match usage of a building to its purpose?
Okay, thank you for that question. I think we also need that question even to orientate people around us. Okay, let me quickly do that. If you have limited land, but you genuinely need that space, you can go vertical. You can
Hmm.
go vertical. Still the same thing. It's more or less like, okay, a father, mother, and 3 children. If you have limited land that you cannot build a bungalow building, you can go to the first floor. But note that don't put your room on the first floor as the elderly one, maybe the
Hmm.
mom and the dad. Because
Hmm.
it will get to a stage that at the old age, you won't be able to climb the staircase, be going and be coming every day. It won't be easy for you. So even if initially you enjoy the atmosphere of the upper floor, but consider when they are building that at that ground floor, there's a particular room there. Even if they receive it to at the initial stage, probably it's being partitioned, they are using it for another thing, but have it at back of your mind that this is my room. So eventually, maybe they partition that space. In later in future, you want to make use of it. They can expand it. They can make it big. They can collapse the space and make it wider for you. You know, redecorate it. It doesn't affect any other thing. Then you and probably the husband, you move downstairs. Then the children will go upstairs
Hmm.
eventually. So that will solve the problem of you put all the bedrooms up there and you don't have any bedroom downstairs because in future you are coming back. That is the
Hmm.
truth. That's the truth. And if eventually you have your 5 bedroom and bedroom duplex and eventually the children are no more in the house, yes, there is a way they should be able to work on your building when you are trying to, you know, they have their terms that are being called. When you consult your architect, you consult an engineer, then they can partition the main building that you see manage your 3 bedroom, another 2 bedroom can be leased out. By the time they, you know, they do the plus and minus, their magic on that particular building. So you can definitely have a neighbor, a big house that you are the only one living before. Now you want to welcome a new visitor. It doesn't disturb they can introduce a new staircase for you for the new person. It doesn't disturb. And if eventually you have this staircase initially while building from onset, that is why you have it's not afterthought now. You have to consider it from it's like from the inception, you have to have the idea that this 5 bedroom duplex I'm building with a very big sitting room in the future. When you have those ideas and you are working with your engineer, you are working with your architect, they can advise you. And when they are working for you, they will give you the same way you ask them. So if eventually you are not having it now, in future, that is the end goal. You will still achieve it because they put it in their own plan. And you know, you'll be able to enjoy your building without any problem. And that is it.
Hmm. Thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate your time. I can see a lot of people already saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you in the comment section. Thank you very much, sir, for the explanation. Thank you, Architect Folorunso and Dr. Adesina. Thank you very much. A lot of people are saying thank you. That means they really appreciate the time you have spent here. Okay, this will be the last question. I think I've said the last question for the past 2 times, but this is the last
Okay.
question for today. So the person says, please, sir, is there a way we can tell the quantity of material used in building by just observing it as a layman? Do you get the question, sir? Or
Okay.
should I read it again?
Yeah, I think I got it. I got the
Okay.
question.
Okay. Thank you,
Mm-hmm.
sir.
Okay. Coming in from this angle, let's just say a layman, like maybe even the moment you are a realtor, you are not a layman again because one or two times you are visiting the site, so you are part of the industry, even though you might not really have more information. Yes, There's a way to detect if there is inferior, and to an extent, let me in quotes and in quotes, there's nothing like inferior. Let me put it like that. This is Nigeria. In my own local dialect, the more money you have, the more way you enjoy the what is it called? Any product that is served in the market. This same spoon, the same spoon we are using to eat, you can have one at 5,000 naira. You can have one at 1,000 or 1,500. They will still serve the same purpose, but it's more or less like the quality that you have put in for this particular project. Let's assume that you have quoted for a particular project now to give you a door that ranges between a door of, let's just say, 1 million naira, and you are seeing another. There are some features that is being expected from that door. You know, some doors, when you knock, there is a sound. The material made of that particular door, and when they brought something that is not up to that amount, you will surely know that this is not up to standard that you requested for. It might not eventually be an inferior, but when you are talking about inferior, when it doesn't serve the purpose or it doesn't match what they are being requested, the operation they are being requested to perform, like a tiles now. We all know we have different types of tiles. In that particular building, you will see some people, they will say, this house, you have a very nice design, you have done a very good structure, and you are just putting material that are not up to that standard of that house in quotes. That was why I said there's difference between the standard that you want and when those materials are not up to standard. Because in some houses, you still put the same entrance door that you see as an interior. You put it there and it will work. Depending on the quality you have put. Are we together now? So when we
Yeah.
are talking about inferior, those little things that we call inferior, let me use paint as an example for that inferior so that that person can get it. You just painted a house. After 1 week, you go to that paint, you touch it, and the thing is just, is just
It
dry,
becomes
and you can
powder.
your finger, you
Hmm.
can feel it. Yes, I'm now bringing in that word of inferior. It's not of good quality. But if eventually the person that wanted that paint, he gave you 10,000 to go and buy paint, that means you have got something of the money he gave it to you. Because the list of beggar paints, or if I don't want to mention it, that you can get now is in thousands. The list presently as we speak, the one bucket can the list you can see. I'm not sure if you can see less than 40,000, even ordinary white. But when you use it on the wall, you know that yes, this is of high quality. So you cannot go and buy another one that doesn't have name and paint and now say inferior. It's what you have requested for that they're giving to you. But if you have requested for standard, we are bringing that to you. That is when inferior comes in. I believe if we get the difference between that.
I think this is just an extension of the question anyway. But in the case of people that are buying off-plan projects, um,
Okay.
they believe you you gave me the price, I pay you the money. So in that instance, they already have their expectation, and the developer
Okay.
also building always also has the budget he or she is working with.
Mm.
But how can we now justify the standard based on the question the person has now? How can you not justify that? Okay, oh, I gave you, let's say, assume I gave you 50 million naira to build a house for me, and when you deliver the project, how can I justify that 50 million naira is higher or below what you are delivering to me? Because
Okay. Okay.
the house is already built. In the case of paint, yes, you can see paint, but in the case of the pipes, in the case of the cables that have gone into wiring, how am I going to know maybe you bought original or fake?
Okay. As a client, you want to really invest and you have to invest well. One of the things you can do is to employ the service of estate valuer. It's possible. They will give you your plus and minus. They know that this house is built to make gain on it. But one of their work is even if a project is 50 million naira, there's at least a particular percentage for the profit on, and there is a standard that is expected of it. So if it is not up to, like I said earlier, we all know that a bottle of water is maybe 300 naira, depending on location. Let me put it like that. When you taste it, it must be colorless. It must be tasteless rather, and it must be colorless. But the
Hmm.
moment you are starting seeing that this water is colorful, is having taste, you know that is not the standard.
Hmm.
So I believe
Hmm.
we get a house of 100 million naira. When you walk in, you should be able to see one or two things that will say yes, the standard is here. Looking at your floor tiles, looking at your paint, looking at the size of even the column that they put. Maybe you're having like 2, 3, 4 story building, and they are putting 300 column.
Hmm.
It's not up to the standards,
Hmm. Excuse my
because the
language.
2, 3 floors on that particular this thing cannot carry it.
Hmm.
That means they've compromised the standard. You will know. So, but
Hmm.
as a layman, like the person said, even you can still employ your architect as the third party. It's not your architect that is selling land, selling houses for you now. It is the what is it called? The what is it called? Maybe I should say what should we call it now? The people that sells this property, not realtor now, not
Okay.
realtor. Realtor is just like middleman. We
Yeah.
were not there and the person that maybe you want to call him contractor, you want to call him a businessman or anything you want to call it. You can do your own thorough this thing by engaging your estate valuer.
Okay.
Your estate valuer will tell you whether it's up to standard or not. Even your QS will tell you whether it's up to standard. Your engineer, because that is where the third party comes in. You are now the representative of the, you know much about what this person is doing. My client is just like a lawyer. I
Hmm.
can't, if to an extent, I cannot defend myself in the law court. I have to get somebody that knows the proceedings of the law court. Then I have to hire the person. So the person will be in my own favor. So if I hire an architect or engineer or realtor that knows much about it, the realtor will tell you, as third party now, this thing is not up to standard. This thing is not up to now. Oh, this thing is okay. You can go for it. You know, with those, you'll be able to, but we know with the quality of the overall, like I said earlier, a house of 100 million. When you see one or two things, when you walk in, you see the paint, you see the tiles, the ordinary POP, they can't afford it. Abba, you know that this is, you know, probably you have paid for it. You
Hmm.
know, those people are looking for problems. So that's just
All right. I think on this note, we have to end this because if we say we should just continue, we can continue tonight. There's a lot of discussion around building, around real estate, around construction. But we have definitely spent well our time to discuss about this, and I would want to appreciate our guest today, architect Folorunsho Joshua. He has done justice to this topic of discussion, and I believe when we call you next time, you will still hit our call. And once again, I dropped his phone number and his Instagram handle in the comment section. Kindly pick it up from there and follow him. Have his contact, reach out to him if there's any job offer. You have a client who is buying and needs third party to help ascertain the quantity and the standard of the project, reach out to him. And you can also send a mail or DM me for more details when you need it. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of this. I remain my humble self, Adeshina Mubarak, popularly known as the Real Estate Doctor. I'm your go-to real estate consultant, advisor for anything that has to do with real estate sales, real estate purchase, and advisory or consultancy. You can always follow me on this handle. I'm sure reach out to me on 08066 143574 and follow me on all social media platforms for educative content such as this. In no time, we are still going to have a repeat of a wonderful master class like this that you have experienced. So be alert for when the information will be dispersed. So thank you so much, everyone, and do have the best week ahead. Please be safe and make billions of naira. Thank you very much, everyone, and I'll see you at the top. Thank you very much, Architect Follow. Have a wonderful day, sir.
Thank you.